Word of a dispute between local law enforcement and Eden's Gate parishioners seems to have been exaggerated. We'd heard there was an attempted arrest, but the sheriff's office released a statement saying any such action is waiting on legal clarification. The Seed family has fully covered the renovation of a local school. While the locals are thankful for the gesture, will this become like so many of their other public projects and be used to promote their beliefs? We're getting more reports on conflict between Hope County locals and Eden's Gate. Sounds like these two groups just don't want to be friends. When we spoke to the dispatcher at the local sheriff's office, it was pretty clear she was exasperated with all the bickering. UN peacekeepers are being deployed to the Middle East in an attempt to root out known terrorist groups. So far, it doesn't appear to be helping. Analysts are saying it's actually escalating tensions and helping these terrorist groups recruit new members. Military bases in the Middle East are on high alert due to troop movements along the Israeli border. The Joint Chiefs of Staff have said they're closely monitoring the situation. The unsanctioned nuclear testing off the coast of Asia continues. Although most countries in the region have agreed to abide by the nuclear weapons ban, North Korea was not one of them. Washington is trying to convince our allies in the area to exert pressure to stop the testing, but it's not looking likely. Police have arrested a suspect in the recent bombing of an Amsterdam tube station. The man claims to have been acting on the words of God and called himself a true prophet. This is just one of many terror attacks in the last few weeks all over the world. Recent reports of military skirmishes in the Pacific have top officials worried. The potential to escalate remains a large concern, according to one Washington staffer. We're hearing rumors that Army Reserve soldiers are being told to be ready at a moment's notice. After all the international conflict of the last few weeks, this isn't a good sign. The U.S. State Department has issued an advisory against all unnecessary international travel. Families are being encouraged to travel within the United States instead of abroad. No word on how this is affecting businesses yet, or whether international business travel is considered necessary. International analysts are saying the U.S. may be facing war. Between the nuclear testing in the Pacific and the failed peace talks in the Middle East, well, things aren't looking good. Peace talks in the Middle East have broken down again, with the latest in a series of bombings, killing 2 and injuring 11. Among the injured are several U.S. reporters who were on hand for the talks. No word yet from the White House on these terrible losses. The Pentagon is on alert in response to news of a credible but not specific threat of an attack on America. A senior Pentagon official said most U.S. military bases are on a Threat Condition Charlie alert. Several Middle Eastern countries have recalled their diplomats from the United States. They say tensions with Korea make it too dangerous to remain. As liberals are attempting to push through new gun restrictions, our Montana state senators have sworn to put up a fight. This in the face of political analysts claiming Montana's culture of independence promotes extremism. None of these analysts, of course, come from Montana. 19 people died today in a terror attack in the Middle East. 38 more were injured. This makes the 3rd attack this month. Is your financial information safe? A massive data breach at one of the nation's top 3 credit reporting agencies would seem to prove it isn't. The company has hired cybersecurity specialists Bloom to look into the matter, but it may be too little too late. Sporting goods stores throughout the state are reporting higher than usual sales. The store owners we've spoken to say it's due to the latest survivalist or prepper movement. It's no surprise, though, that a movement focused on self-sufficiency would appeal to your average Montanan. Our local law enforcement agencies may be even more strapped for manpower soon. If Congress approves the current budget, many police departments in Montana will have to introduce involuntary furloughs or let go of a quarter of their staff. Washington, D.C. is preparing to evacuate. The president has already been moved to a secure location. Meanwhile, the National Military Command Center is deploying crisis response teams to major cities along the eastern seaboard. Unsurprisingly, only 5 of our 6 state Senate candidates showed up for the recent debate. Local failed magnate Herc Drubman was not one of them. Again, surprising no one, considered his campaign thus far. World news continues being depressing. An attack on a police facility in Kashmir has left 8 dead and dozens injured. The injured have been evacuated to a nearby hospital. At least 2 of the attackers were killed, but we don't yet have a full count on the casualties. The strain in Asia is increasing. Between threats of nuclear activity and potential trade sanctions, it seems likely that conflict will break out sometime in the near future. If it does, the United States will have to get involved. All communication from North Korea has stopped. Analysts are saying this silence is not a good sign, and the Koreans may be preparing for nuclear war. The first attack could come at any moment. Russia has been attacked. Bombs hit Moscow this morning. No final word on casualties, but experts are saying the numbers are in the millions. If there was any hope for peace, it's gone now. U.S. military installations in Europe and the Middle East have been told to go on Threat Con Charlie in response to threats coming out of the Pacific. Recent global conflicts have the government requesting that all U.S. citizens traveling in Asia or the Middle East return home as soon as possible. If you have family out there, check in with them. More refugees in the Middle East are seeking asylum in the United States as tensions ratchet up globally. The White House thus far has refused to make a statement. Meanwhile, our neighbors to the north have been accepting thousands of refugees. One of our own was injured in a suicide bombing that killed 1 and injured 3 soldiers. The attack happened in Afghanistan over the weekend. Although his name hasn't been released, we do know he's from Butte, Montana, and his family has been notified. The Department of Homeland Security has issued an intermediate alert today. Affected regions include New York, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and San Francisco. Montana isn't expected to be affected, but it's always possible. Keep alert, people. Stock up on food and water, just in case. There have been reports of a potential biological weapon released in South America. Hundreds have died within the last 3 days. Officials initially claimed it was a viral outbreak. A nuclear power plant in Tennessee was shut down earlier this week thanks to an equipment malfunction. It's a relatively new plant, so this news is particularly alarming. Are our kids going to be literate? Up until recently, every new generation in the U.S. had access to better education than the one before it. But with the budget cuts in the Montana university system lately, that's looking less and less likely. Repairs to the interstate completed this week, leaving many drivers relieved. Truck drivers in particular are pleased since the notoriously potholed road has been known to cause damage to large vehicles. Several Montana trucking companies have said it was cutting down on how many drivers were willing to work for them. The recent bus driver strike threatens to return, unless both parties can find a way to compromise. The Montana Teamsters Union cites the school district's practice of hiring private contractors from out of state as unfair labor practice. Preparations continue for the upcoming Montana Horse Show and Rodeo in Lewistown. Organizers anticipate an even larger turnout than last year, with an estimated 19,000 attendees. Tickets are $5. Student test scores are on the rise for the 3rd year in a row. The state superintendent credits recent programs to increase parent engagement with making the difference. Montana now ranks 24th in the nation. If you're looking for something productive your kids can do, nature show host and celebrity Karen James will be leading a new summer camp teaching students about Montana's native flora and fauna. She says the main focus will be teaching students self-sufficiency and wilderness safety. Montanans may have fewer options when it comes to grocery shopping in the future. Another national chain of grocery stores is filing for bankruptcy. When asked if this was an indicator of a financial depression, the Secretary of the Treasury said, "Absolutely not." This year's state fair looks to be one of the largest on record, with commercial vendors rushing to sign up. In addition to the standard competitions and entertainment, this year's fair will be good for the Great Falls economy. Be prepared to tighten your belt this year. The sudden drought hitting the eastern side of the state has left farmers struggling to make ends meet. This year's statewide wheat crop will be 1/3 smaller than last year's. Discussions of increased irrigation are on the table, but many small farmers say they can't afford it unless the state steps in to help. Thanks to the shift in weather patterns, we're facing a potential fire season here in Montana. As farmland lies barren, the surrounding countryside dries up. The state fire marshal cautions that everyone must be careful not to accidentally set off a conflagration. The nursing shortage continues, with hospitals throughout the state severely understaffed. Policymakers in the capital are considering rolling out an incentive program to encourage college-age students to go to nursing school. In the meantime, our hospitals are having to turn away patients. The anniversary of Clutch Nixon's death is fast approaching, and still there's no official word on a celebration. It's a shame such a famous man is being forgotten. How many of us enjoyed watching his daredevil stunts when we were growing up? Not just in Montana, but across the country. If you're a big music fan, you may want to consider getting VIP tickets for this year's Blues Festival. It'll get you front row seats to all the major performances, plus a chance to mingle with the artists. The county is issuing warnings for hunters. A wolf attacked over the weekend, left one hunting dog dead, another injured, and a hunter in critical care. His friend, who drove off the wolf with nothing more than his fists, said it happened so quickly, one dog was dead before either man could do anything. It might be time to check your wallet. Policymakers are talking about a global warming gasoline fee. Herc Drubman, who's currently running for office, claims this is all a conspiracy by the government to raise taxes, and there's no proof global warming is even real. The upcoming Bitterroot Flower Festival is now open to vendor applications. The annual festival celebrates the cultural heritage of the Salish tribe and the flower that was a staple of their diet. As usual, the festival will be occurring in Bitterroot Valley. The next time you're at the grocery store, you may want to reconsider what you purchase. Rates of obesity are continuing to rise in Montana, though at a slower rate than most of the rest of the country. If we can improve on that trend, it'll go a long way toward improving health in our state. Good news for conservationists, potentially bad news for fishermen. The Department of Fish and Wildlife will be funding a new tag and release program for the endangered white sturgeon. Anyone found to have caught one will be fined, so leave those sturgeon alone. Or, if you catch one, throw it back.